was a very, you thought you should have known it. And then when you find out, you feel kind of, you feel kind of dumb, or you feel like, how in the world did I not know that? And that happened to me last week, just something real simple. And I may share that story. But, so that's one thought, is that if you learned something recently that you think was just a simple thing, but maybe someone else needs to know that, I'd like to hear that, whether it's an operating, it could be an operating tactic, it could be something that helps you in your day-to-day, it could be about logging, anything that related to radio, grounding and bonding, anything, something that you didn't know about that you all of a sudden found out recently and thought, well, you know what, other people should know this. Sort of the overarching topic, if you will, and I really like that idea because, one of the things I've learned in radio is that I learn a lot faster from other people. You can read the manual, you can watch YouTube videos, but I've noticed that being in a club and being around other people has seemed to accelerate my learning. There's so much what we would like to call tribal knowledge, if that's an appropriate term to use. It's just there's so much knowledge that's in people's heads that it's really hard to sometimes get that out. That's really where I'd like to go today. And at the same time, a subtopic, which is really fascinating me lately, is the topic of amateur radio satellite. Making contacts via satellite, maybe decoding slow scan television images from a satellite. I know we do balloon stuff around here where we make contacts through balloons, but those are fairly rare. It happens rarely that we get to make a contact through a weather balloon. So, but let's kind of think about those two topics there. One is, what's something that you may have learned that you think everybody needs to know? It could be a basic, it could be more advanced. And then, of course, let's dive into this topic, amateur satellites, and see if we can get any traction on either one of those two. I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but I think I had a few things I wanted to say. Before we take our first check-in, let's mention a couple of club meetings that are coming up this month. As I said a few minutes ago, the clubs are where you can meet people and you can learn and really improve your knowledge, especially the tribal knowledge. First club meeting coming up this week on July the 14th is the LARC Club meeting. That's going to be on this Tuesday, the 14th. At 7 p.m. in the Colony. Now, our presentation there will be on Field Day and a recap there. So if you're interested in Field Day and how things shook out with us, we're happy to have you. There's always a little bit of other socializing going on as well. So it's not just going to be about Field Day. We have the Dakara Club meeting coming up. Well, I don't have it on my list here, but it'll be coming up at at 1 Courthouse Drive, Denton, Texas, 76209. It's on a Monday, and for some reason I don't have it here on my list, but I'm guessing it's going to be. Let me pull up their calendar real quick. June 23rd is the next. Well, that's the next club meeting, if I'm correct. I'm looking at the Dakara website. So let's just go here to the calendar real quick. Dakara Club meeting is July the 27th, according to the calendar. Okay, I was wrong on all counts. July the 27th at the Denton County Administrative Courthouse, room 220. Go to Dakara.net if you would like to look at that, dcara.net, and I'll give you more information. And another club meeting on July the 21st, which is going to be the Louisville Amateur Radio Association club meeting. They meet every third Tuesday at 6:30 at Thrive in Louisville, and that's at 1950 South Valley Parkway, Louisville, Texas. That's enough announcements for now, and I've probably rambled a little too much. Let's recap what our topics ought to be. And the first topic is there something that you've learned recently in the last, it could be the last week, it could be the last 2 months, but something you've learned recently that you feel like you should have known. And then let's get into this topic of amateur radio, amateur satellites, and see if we can gain some traction there. So with that being said, who would like to check in or be the first check in for today on the Digitally Speaking Net? Come now with your call sign followed by your name.
Golf 5, Golf Victor, AG5GV, Eric.
Come again. I think you there was just a little quick on the mic key, and I didn't catch the first part.
Alpha, Golf 5, Golf Victor, AG5GV, Eric.
Eric, good to have you on the net today. Sorry for not grabbing that. You would think I could, but man, it's just sometimes it's just you know, you got to wake up from your nap. All right, Eric, what have you got for us today?
So for me, it would be a common mistake that I make a lot because I have a radio that has multiple programs and frequencies programmed into it. So our repeater is 146.920, and there's another repeater the closer you get towards Houston with the same 146.920. So I have the Dakara set for channel 1 on my radio, and then the other one near Houston is on channel 5. And a few weeks ago, I was down in that area, and I was calling for KG5RGR, which is Scott. And I was like, how come nobody's coming back to me? And I'm hearing Conroe. Is this some sort of weird skip thing going on? Is there tropospheric ducting, or what's going on? Then I realized I was on the wrong channel. So it happens. And then satellite radio, I used to do that quite a bit a couple years ago. Haven't got back into it. I still have all the gear for it, but with satellite radio, you just got to make sure that your angle is correct to the satellite that's coming over, or the ISS. The lower the angle seems like the better, 70 degrees or something like that. But that's just my opinion. Back to you. Appreciate it. AG5GV.
Well, yeah, that's first of all on your frequency issue. So how were you hearing the Houston repeater, or explain that a little bit more? I get what you're saying. Were you just on a repeater that you weren't expecting to be on? How were you hearing someone from another area? Was it through like a linked repeater or something?
For me, with my antenna set up, I can be in Kaufman or way long ways away from the repeater here in Denton and still be able to hit the repeater. But there's a similar repeater, I believe it's in Conroe, it may be somewhere else down in that area. Same frequency, but the PO tones are different. So that's what it was. And I thought I was on the Dakara repeater. I was like, holy cow, am I hitting Dakara from Houston? But no, it turned out to be Conroe people talking back and forth, and that's what it was. I just had the right frequency, had the wrong PO tone. So I have Dakara set on my radio for channel 1, which is what I'm talking on now. And then the Houston repeater, or Conroe, or wherever it is on channel 5, and I didn't realize it at the time.
Well, yeah, I've had similar things happen to me, especially traveling out of the normal area. Now, I've heard the W5NGU repeater, this repeater originating in Denton, I've heard it way off before through some ducting and things like that. I've been as far as Tyler before and heard it ID itself, so it's amazing what can happen. But, well, that's cool. All right, Eric, so I'm not going to let you get away without talking a little. So I am brand new to anything satellite. In fact, I have not made a contact yet. But the other night, I'll just kind of give you a little background. The other night, Coleman, KO5Z from up in Aubrey as well, or Krugerville, he's up that way, he just texted me out of the blue and said, hey, the International Space Station's coming over. You ought to see if you can hear it. And I'm like, well, I'm already in bed, dude. It's late. I don't even know if I have I don't even have an antenna plugged up. He said, well, see if you, but then I thought, well, I'm going to try it on my handheld just to see. out there, and I heard some noise. I thought, wow, this is pretty interesting. So I always thought that hearing the satellites was very difficult, and so I actually heard this just on the little rubber duck. I heard the ISS ID, NA1SS. I could hear the Morse code just as clear as the bell, and then I heard a few people talking. And it wasn't too amazing, obviously, with just the rubber duck, but that's how I this was a week ago, last Friday, a week ago. And ever since then, I have sort of been gearing up to make my first contact. Now, I've got the radio, the antenna, everything in the bag so I can hold it, and I think I can stand up and hold everything now. So now we got to see if we can do it. Eric, tell me where I might be headed in the right direction or in the wrong direction, because to me, this isn't a success until I make the first contact.
The ISS is really fun because you can actually do that with a handheld. Just point your rubber ducky towards the ground, and you get better signal that way. I'm not sure why, but that works. But if you get a disc cone antenna and then an SMA connector and hook that up to your handheld, the disc cone will act as a Doppler shift for you, and you don't have to sit there and rotate it and things. And it'll do it with satellites as well, but 5 watts is a little hard. 15 to 20 watts should do it, but ISS is fun. And then on my story earlier, there's also a repeater up in Oklahoma that's on the 14692, and we can hear them every once in a while too. But yeah, ISS and satellites are really, really fun. I know Andrew has a really nice setup. His is all automated, so it actually tracks the satellite for you, and I forget what that system's called, but a disc cone antenna works great, man. AG5GB, back to you.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I did notice that when I pointed I was pointing the rubber duck all over the place, and I noticed that when it did go towards the ground, I did seem to hear a little better. Very surprising. And what's weird is I got one of these it's an arrow antenna. And the other night it went over again, and I kind of pointed it to the ground, and I could hear it great even pointing that to the ground. So I don't know what that means. It could be that just reflecting off of something. So I didn't realize Andrew. I should have known this because I've seen him with that system before, but I forgot that he was into that. So I may have to look him up a little bit. So, Eric, any interesting things, like what's your wildest thing that ever happened on the satellites, or any cool stuff you could share with us to kind of inspire us all?
That's really cool because you have to take in the fact that satellite communications, there's a buttload of people on, and it's very short-lived, so it's not like you're going to contact Germany or something, but I have been trying really, really hard to hit the Lido satellite that's stationary. I believe that one's in India somewhere. I know it's a long shot, but that's one of my goals is to try to hit that thing. But I think the farthest I've talked from Texas was a young kid in Tennessee, and that was about a year ago whenever I talked to him, so that was quite fun. Walmart parking lot. Back to you, AG5GB.
Cool. Yeah, there was a young kid on there the other night. So I had a little small, before I got the antenna, the arrow antenna, I had a little small Moxon for 2 meters. And it did actually, I guess it could receive better than the rubber duck. And I heard this little young guy from, I think he was in the San Antonio area based on his grid square. And man, he had a huge group calling him back, so that was pretty cool. I think he said he was roving, which I thought was cool as well. All right, well, cool. Well, thanks for that, Eric. This is kind of it's something that I've always thought was too complicated to get into and took too much equipment. But if it's possible to do this, just playing around a little bit, maybe handheld, I think I'm going to try it.
It's a lot of fun. You should try it. And then, like I said, if you want a cheaper route, go grab you a disc cone antenna. They're about $70, and SMA connector, hook it up to your handheld. If you're just doing, ISS and local satellites. Now, it can get complicated because there's other satellites that are not only UHF but VHF, so uplink and downlink, but those are fun too. So I appreciate it. Good topics. Back to you, AG5GB.
Cool, Eric. Thanks for that. Yeah, so Coleman, I guess he said he wasn't going to be able to check in today. He's got family over and things like that, and he's the only expert I really know for satellites. And he kind of, I don't know, for whatever reason, he sent me a text message, and ever since then I've been all interested in this. So, I like the idea of trying to work the grid squares and things like that. That sounds like it's going to be cool. All right. Anybody else want to check into the Visually Speaking Net? Come down with your call sign followed by your name.
Kilo Juliet 5, Charlie Juliet Sierra. This is Mark.
Juliet 5, November Golf Juliet James.
All right. Mark, I think it was Mark first come through. Mark, give me your call sign again.
Kilo Juliet 5, Charlie Juliet Sierra.
Hey, Mark. Welcome to the net today. Kilo Juliet 5, Charlie Juliet Sierra. What have you got for today's net regarding either the amateur satellite topic or the other topic about something you may have learned recently?
Well, I am actually across the lake staring at y'all's antenna on Ray Roberts. I just did a POTA activation. But on the satellite front, I was just up in Michigan about 2 or 3 weeks ago before the heat wave hit. And I was on travel, and I thought, well, I was there long enough. Let me order a Bofang off of Amazon, and I had such a good clear signal there. There's not a lot of noise. It was real quiet, and I was picking up repeaters all over the place.
Mark, we lost you there. Come back again. We lost you for a second.
I was using a UV5R Pro to pick up a couple satellites when I was up in Michigan.
Well, did you have a special antenna, or was it just the Baofang with the stock antenna on it?
It was a Bofang with a stock antenna, and I was just using an app and waiting for them to come up above and turning off the squelch and listening way down there, and I picked up some signals. I know they were signals because it was a rhythmic beep that came and went. A couple of them were loud and some of them were really quiet. Over.
Absolutely, that's what you heard. And now I was hearing voices and call signs and grid squares and things like that. It was the ISS. I think the ISS is a little easier to listen to. I think it's got a stronger repeater up there. But, that's pretty cool. So you kind of had an experience like I did. Did that kind of get you excited to want to get out and try making a contact through the repeater, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. So I heard voices too. I hit the ISS, but it was way down there low. But it does make me want to kind of get a Yagi antenna and start hunting satellites. I thought that was a lot of fun. Over.
Very cool. All right. Well, cool, Mark. Well, that's really cool. So you're out there doing POTA today. Are you an active POTA person, or how? I haven't looked you up to see, but what's your normal POTA routine?
Well, I just do a lot of hunting down in my local park because I have a family. It's hard for me to get out on some days, but this was actually my first activation today. Most of my time is spent hunting. It's pretty nerve-wracking. The waves are not real good today. It's hard to pick people up, but I think I got to the 10 I need to get. I hope. Over.
I'm sure you did. Yeah, well, that's cool. That is one of my favorite parks. I've been going there for a while now, and, of course, it's one of the most everybody's favorite park in the state of Texas. It's close to the big city, and so a lot of folks go out there. That park, and I haven't looked at the stats lately, but I think it's the number 3 or number 4 most activated park in the state of Texas. So it gets a lot of action, if you will. Well, good for you. Glad to see you out there, Mark. Sometimes we go out there as a group. If you or anybody else listening to this wants to be in part of our local POTA group, we have a POTA group in Signal, and we'll be happy to have you in there so you can let us know. When you go out there, you can say, hey, I'm at the park. and you'll at least get 3 or 4 guys hunting you from the local area.
Yeah, so I just talked to 2 guys. One of them runs your like junior or young people's TalkNet. They're over here activating. I can't recall their names, but they're the ones that told me to jump on this and just pointed out the antenna there across the lake. So that was pretty cool. Over.
Yeah, I think you met probably Sam or Zach or one of the. I think they run a youth net here on this repeater. So, well, that's cool, Mark. Well, I see you over from McKinney. So good to see you in our neck of the woods over here, and glad you could make the photo activation. Anything else for today before we move on to somebody else, Mark?
That's it. 7-3. Thanks, guys. Thank you for hosting the TalkNet.
Well, thanks, Mark, for checking in. It's just this net's been going for, I don't know, probably close to a decade now. We just have a good little informal discussion on Sunday afternoons. We try to have a topic, but sometimes the topic goes all over the place.
It up from McKinney, so I will listen in. Over, and I will pass it on to the next person. Thank you. 7-3.
3, Mark. This is Kilo 5 Charlie Whiskey. I think there was we went so long there, you may not be out there. James, or was it James? Are you still out there?
This is Kilo Juliet 5, Never Golf Juliet, James from PrepHam.
James, I got Kilo Juliet 5, and then I missed the next. So give me the full call, and then go ahead.
This is Kilo Juliet 5, November Golf Juliet. That's Kilo Juliet 5, November Golf Juliet. KJ5 NGJ. James from Farmhouse.
Cool, James. I got it. I thought I heard November there before the Romeo, but was not 100% sure. All right, man. What have you been up to? Any satellite stuff or anything interesting that you've been learning lately?
Got a couple things. I guess I'll first address the net topic. I've done some stuff with satellites, not like I'll just listen to the ISS's repeater, and I got a contact someone, I think it was in New York. And this is not Miyagi, this is just on a 50-watt B-Tech with an omnidirectional antenna, and I don't know, it must have been passing right overhead. I got a contact with someone in New York, so that was pretty cool. But what's going to make it off my ham world is I just bought a Yaesu FT91A, which I'm actually talking to that on you right now, and planning on getting my general license here in maybe a week or two, seeing how studying goes. But yeah, so looking forward to being on HF and making some contacts around the world. Back to you.
Cool, James. Well, it sounds like you got lucky there. I don't want to say lucky. It sounds like you just were at the right place at the right time. I'm not saying it can't be done, but I would have never imagined that you could do that. I probably would have been afraid to try. So good for you for not being afraid to jump out there and make the contact. So it sounds like this amateur satellite thing is something that's doable for sure. Anything else for today's net, James? It sounds like you're ready to head on out.
Nothing else really. I've been wanting to get into the satellite hobby for a little bit now, and planning on making my own Yagi. But I just bought the 901A 2 days ago, so my wallet is just recovering from that right now. But anyways, good talking to you, and thank you for running the net. And I wish you 73 and a good back to you. This is Kilo Juliet 5, November Golf Juliet. Back to net control.
Have a good rest of your day, James, and thanks for checking in to the net today. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm learning something. One of the things I'm learning right now is that there's more stuff happening on satellites than I knew existed. Sounds like there's some activity out there, and people are having fun on the band. All right. Yeah, somebody's telling me I keep timing out the repeater. Faster. Anyway, who else is our first, our next? Who wants to be our next check-in for today's net? Come with your call sign followed by your name.
Kilo India 5 Romeo Sierra X-ray mobile. Bobby.
Romeo 8 X-ray Dave.
There's a lot coming in there. I heard Sam first. Sam, come again. I know your call sign, but come again with your call sign, then we'll get Dave next.
Yeah, 5 Romeo Sierra X-ray. This is David Sanzad.
Kilo Romeo 8 X-ray Dave in Frisco.
Hey, Dave. What are you up to today?
We're just out at Lake Ray Roberts. 2 Daves on the net right now, so I'm assuming you're talking to me.
With you, Dave. I think there was somebody that met you out at the lake today.
Mark was out there doing photo activation and jumped in the truck, and I'm standing through 20 meters and pretty dead on 20 meters. I just kept getting crashed, on my radio. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I tuned it in, and sure enough, he's sitting over there on 14232 doing his first photo activation. So got to make his contact on HF, and then had a eye-to-eyeball QSO, and great to just meet new ham radio operators.
Dave, anything you've learned lately in ham radio you want to share with us, or have you had any luck contacting people through satellite?
Ham has started with satellite work. He got a UV Pro, VTech UV Pro, and with the with the space station, it does all your Doppler shifts for you, and so he's been playing with his Yagi, and he's made a couple of contacts with the space station, or I guess through the space station repeater to like Arizona and New York and stuff like that. So he's working towards it. I haven't really played with the satellites, but I know you got a busy net, so I'm going to give it back to you. Thank you for running net control. This is KF5RSX back to net.
Cool, Dave. Well, I don't know if he's with you or not. What is the exact brand of that radio? I saw him with that, walking around with it, and he mentioned it, and I didn't catch the brand or the model.
The brand is BTech, Bravo Tech, or BTech, and it's the UV Pro. So BTech UV Pro.
Perfect. Yeah, I may just have to pick one of those up. It's being able to, hold one radio in your hand real easily sounds like a good deal. All right. Well, thanks for checking in, Dave. Is Sam with you? Did he want to check in?
I'll pass him the mic.
Kilo India 5, Romeo Sierra Victor.
What have you learned recently, or what are some of your satellite adventures?
Oh, well, I'm going to say that one of my satellite passes that I really enjoyed was the ISS, and I made a station out of Arizona, and that was probably one of my more favorite ISS passes that I've been on. I haven't really done it as much as I know I need to, but it's a little bit of a pain to set up the Yagi antenna, so I do have that excuse somewhat. No, I need to do more AMSAT work. This is Kilo India 5 Romeo Sierra Victor. Back to you.
Sam, here's another question for you. Does the radio that you have, does it work with, like, Bluetooth headphones?
Yes, sir, it does.
And that seems to make the whole thing a lot simpler. If you've got one radio and you've got and you can Bluetooth your headphones, that's less wires. I know there's a slight delay there. Is the delay too much trouble for you, or do you not? Just give us a little details on your operation, if you don't mind.
I haven't messed too much with the Bluetooth. I've connected it to my phone and operated it off my phone before, but that's about the extent. But I do know that it can do it because I've seen people do it. There is a slight delay, which can be a little bit annoying, but honestly, it's workable.
And how does the Doppler shift work? Does it track the satellite through like a phone app, or how does that work?
Yes. It tracks it because the radio itself has a GPS in it, and it tracks from the known I can't pronounce that word, Keplerian elements or something like that, and then it takes that and automatically calculates the Doppler shift and automatically puts it to the radio via Bluetooth.
Okay, I got you. Well, cool. So that's the BTEC UV Pro. I may want to try that out. If it makes life easier, makes it easier just to carry things around and make contacts. All right. Well, cool, Sam. Anything else for today's net?
I can say on the BTEC to add it to that is the built-in GPS is amazing, especially because it has a built-in SAME decoder, which automatically detects the FIPS code for where you are, and then it tones out when there's a alert to that exact location. And you don't even really have to enable anything on the radio to make it do that. So it's really amazing for alerting you because it uses a radio that constantly monitors it, and then it takes your GPS from the radio and automatically detects the FIPS code for wherever you are.
So, Sam, I may not be, some people were asking me in the group chat what software you're using, and you may have, don't know that we caught it. So is there a software that you're using to track the satellites other than something that works with the radio, or are you just using a software that works directly with the radio?
Directly with the radio, it's the BTEC UV Pro app, and you can find it in the App Store or on Google Play.
Perfect, Sam. Yeah, now I've tried a couple of apps on my phone, and I'll mention those real quick. We're going to get Dave in here next. And I think he's the one with the question, but one of the apps that I was trying to use was Look for Sat. That's on the Android phone, and then another one called ISS Tracker. Now, the ISS Tracker, I think, is for Android and it's for Apple, so it probably would be and it seems like it's a little easier app to use. All right, Sam, anything else? I'm going to let Dave jump in here if you're finished.
Got nothing else for the net. Take care in 73. This is Kilo India 5, Romeo Sierra Victor, back to net control.
Thanks, Dave. Glad y'all are out there meeting people. Sounds like 3 hams were out there getting out and doing fun things and meeting each other, which is always cool. Hey, Dave, KR8X, I heard you in there. You're always interested in cool things like this satellite stuff. Jump in and give us some of your thoughts.
This is KR8X, Dave in Frisco. Can y'all hear me okay?
Good quality, Dave. Sounds great. Come on in.
I'm coming to you using my Yagi on top of my house. Satellite work, I actually was able to listen in using my Baofeng UV5R with the Yagi just to listen in. I haven't made the leap to a handheld like Arrow antenna with my UV Pro, but I do have one and I have that software, so I'll certainly check that out. But I haven't really got into the satellite work yet, though it's always interesting. I just have to get a better antenna for it than my Yagi that goes up on top of my mast. And the UV5 Pro is good. It does have Bluetooth headsets. It has GPS. It supports, it has a built-in TNC, so actually last Wednesday I sent my WinLink Wednesday check-in using my UV Pro and my Samsung Android app together. So it's a good little radio. I really like it, and I will certainly look into investigate the usage of satellite with the UV Pro. I just need an antenna, but who knows? I might be able to at least listen in to the satellite that's going over. That's about all that I had. Anything else you'd like to ask me, Net Control?
Dave, I'm sure I'll get bored with this antenna that I've got here within a few days. Once I make a few contacts, you're welcome to borrow it and see if you like it. That way you can decide if you want to buy one for yourself. So that might be a good way to share a resource. That way we're not all going out and buying satellite antennas just to try to make a few contacts.
Appreciate that. Well, that's all I really had to offer. I mean, I just encourage everybody to stay hydrated, stay out of the sun. It's hot out there, and I will return it to Net Control, KR8X.
Dave, I'm not going to let you out of here that quick because you're always learning new things. Now, maybe you don't learn like I do. But in fact, this whole story about me learning something new came from me learning something from you about WinLink. Is there anything you've learned recently that you thought you probably should have known, or something that just kind of blew your mind? Something that just, was interesting that you want to share with us?
Well, I have a WinLink node, KR8X-10, operating on 144.990. It only has a range of about a half a mile, or about 2 miles from my house, but I've enjoyed that. Most recently, I did some drive tests to just see how well it operated using my UV5 Pro and my mag mount antenna on the roof with an adapter, and I was able to talk to my node using the WOAD app that would talk to my UV Pro via the Bluetooth interface, which has got a microphone, speaker, and I think it's got some control for RTT. So that's been interesting fun. And other than that, I have another mast that I just put up. I tried to reach Saxy. They're having a new repeater, and as expected, I was not able to close the distance on that far leg but I was able to hit with full quieting some of the McKinney repeaters and some of the UTD repeater using that vertical Yagi at 15 feet.
I don't know if you're pointed at a motor or if you're pointed towards the main repeater site. Of course, I know you can almost see the repeater site from over in the part of Frisco that you live in the distance. So, which direction is your Yagi pointed? Because I mean, I've been listening to a lot of people on this net today, and so far your signal is the best.
I'm running 20 watts on my Yagi pointed to the northwest, basically, toward Denton. So there is a voter that's not too far from me, and like any Yagi, its front-to-back ratio isn't 100%, so it could be hitting the voter behind me, which I think is in one of the Frisco water towers. I don't know how to see where I'm coming on. I think you have to have admin privileges to see. But that's my setup right now, coming in using my 991A in my shack.
Well, I'm not 100% sure here, Dave, but it looks like you're coming, I can read this thing. It looks like you're coming in through the Ralston voter more than anything else. Does that surprise you?
No, it's, again, I'm above the ridge of my house, so with that mast, I should be able to, it should extend fairly well. But you saying I'm on the Ralston repeater?
Ralston voter, the voter that says Ralston is what? You're like triple that voter versus the main site.
Well, actually, I probably do have from that Yagi, I probably have a component that's between the houses that's going almost due west. So yeah, it could be that. I get broadcasts from Ralston on my from the digipeater that it has in it. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. RF is a tricky magic thing. You never know where it's going. But that's I'm glad that my signal is good. At least all of my cables are good and operating. That's always a good thing to know.
Well, usually bad signals on nets just drive me crazy. Now, I don't want to discourage anybody from checking in, but too many bad signals and it's just a bunch of noise that you want to turn off. But we're lucky here to have such a great system that we can have this net on. But yeah, I'm watching the voters now, Dave. Once you said that, I realized I could flip over there and look at it, and it's real interesting. You were coming in at times triple what the main site was seeing, triple through Ralston. Anyway, well, thanks for that, Dave. I may tell the story about what I learned new from you this week, which spurred this whole conversation. But thanks for being out there, and thanks for checking in today, Dave.
Thank you, and also just to remember that Yagis typically are horizontally polarized, but to utilize the repeaters, those are vertical antennas. So my mount for my Yagi, I have it currently in a vertical orientation. 73, back to you, net control.
Point there, Dave, and that may what you're telling and talking about today may help someone out there for sure. I'm on a Yagi at the moment. It's vertically polarized, pointed directly east, almost directly east, and which is interesting because even with, let me see, as I talk here, I'm coming in pretty stronger on the Frisco voter than I am on the main site. So interesting there. All right, who else wants to check into the digitally speaking net today? Come now with your call sign, followed by your name.
Kilo 5 Golf Charlie, Bobby.
KO4 PDI in Palm Coast. The name is Mike.
Mike, stand by. I missed your call, but I got Bobby first. Let's go to Bobby. K5 GGC, K5 Golf Charlie. Hey, Bobby. How are you doing today?
Oh, doing good. Just wanted to get on the numbers, and I am interested in the satellite stuff. I was hoping to listen and learn a little bit. Sounds like Sam knows quite a bit. I'll hit him up on the phone and get with him. But yeah, I just want to be part of the numbers and tell you I like the topic, and I'm learning a little bit.
That's one of the things I love about this hobby. About that, I choked on something. That's one of the things I like about this hobby, Bobby, is that there's so many little niche things you can get into and go down a big rabbit hole. How's your POTA activations been going?
Well, last one I did, I went to East Texas at Dangerfield State Park. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I made quite a few contacts. I started out on phone and switched to FT8, and I did some hunting. Did pretty good out there. I haven't uploaded it yet. I activated myself on the app and on the website, but I still have to upload my logs from QRZ, but I haven't done that yet. I'm not looking for any kind of sympathy or anything, but I was hospitalized, and then they let me out on hospice here at home. So anyway, I'm gonna get some more activations in, and I always use Roberts. It's so close, but I lived in Dangerfield where the state park is for 18 years, and I never went to it. And so I still have friends and family out there, so I went out and did an activation. It was fun. It was a nice park.
Very cool, Bobby. Yeah, I think Bentley. I think you said Dangerfield. I think Bentley goes out there whenever he has a chance. Well, sorry to hear you've been in the hospital. I hope you're on the road to recovery. If there's anything we can do, let us know, Bobby. If you need help putting up antennas or radio stuff, I know you're pretty capable. I was just checking the leaderboard out at Lake Ray Roberts, and it looks like you made it on the leaderboard. So that's a pretty big deal in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't know if FTH's cheating or not. I know I'm using a computer, but it is antenna to antenna. That's how I get so many contacts. And I noticed on the web I did receive my Kilo Award for out there. I didn't realize it, but I enjoy it. It gets me out, gives me something to do. Now I'm going to have to tote around my oxygen. Not bottles, those are just for emergencies, but I have to have a way to plug in my oxygen deal when I go. But, yeah, the satellite deal, you can have a radio that's just true dual band, like this FTM 500 I'm talking on. You can get the satellites that way, right, or do you have to have a special handheld?
That's a good question, Bobby. I'm hearing that you won't. I'm hearing that you want full duplex, but I don't know that that's really required. The idea is that you'll be able to hear yourself on the downlink to make sure you're not causing a bunch of trouble in the repeater. I don't know that that's 100% necessary. I'm going to be trying to use a ICOM 5100, which is sort of a mobile radio, but I was thinking I would use that. It's a full duplex, so that means I can transmit and still hear what's on the other band. And I'm going to try that. I may try it this afternoon, but I'm going to try to see if I can, make that work. But I think you can do it with what's called maybe half duplex. And I'm not sure I know all the terminology, but I think that VTech UV Pro that Sam was talking about might be a half duplex radio. Does that make any sense?
QSL, a lot of sense. This radio, it's full duplex. I have my B-side volume turned down, or I'd be hearing the traffic that's on that channel while I'm talking as well. But yeah, I downloaded the app, but I haven't been up or around the radio when a satellite is in the right area, I guess you would say. But anyway, you got another call sign out there waiting. He sounded like he was from, maybe he's coming in on I can't think right now. I'm not hooked up to my oxygen, but anyway, I'll turn it back to you, and I appreciate you letting me in there on the numbers, and I'm gonna be listening and still trying to learn. K5GGC, back to net.
Bobby, well, good to hear from you. And if you are interested, if you don't already have the app, there's an app called ISS Detector, like International Space Station Detector. I think you have to pay for the amateur satellites. It's like $5. But I got that on my phone, and it seems to tell me, well, you have to kind of filter and tell it what satellites you want to track. But once you do that, like it's telling me that the International Space Station is going to be coming over tonight at 6:53 p.m. And so my plan is to be out there holding my antenna up at the sky, and hopefully my neighbors don't think I'm too crazy. So try that app out, Bobby.
I do have that app. Back to you.
Well, have a good rest of your day. Try to stay safe and stay out of the heat. And we'll talk soon. All right. We've got a bunch of repeaters linked up here, and all over the United States, it seems like. And I thought I heard someone come in, maybe Mike, who I asked to stand by. Mike, if you're still out there, it sounded like you may have been on AllStar, or maybe not. But Mike, if you're still out there, come down with your call sign.
All right. Roger, Roger. This is Mike in Palm Coast, Florida. The call sign is Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India, and I am coming in on the Grapevine, Texas AllStar node from Jason, KC5HWB. I'm coming in through him. And satellites is my bag. That's what I do. I have a YouTube channel. I do a lot of live streaming. I believe your pass of the ISS that I'll probably be on is at 6:19 my time. So I think you're an hour earlier than me. Right now it's 3:54 here. So if you guys go to my YouTube channel, you can watch me do a ISS pass at 6:19 Eastern Daylight Time. I'll be on there. And if anybody has any questions about satellites, I'm your guy. Ask me. I'm an AMSAT ambassador. I thoroughly enjoy satellites. That was the niche that I found when I first got my license 4 years ago. And I probably average about 2,000 contacts a year. About 2,000 contacts a year on satellites. Everything from linear satellites to FM satellites. There's a couple of satellites have little quirky things about them. Yes, you can do it on a Baofeng, but you'll get 1 or 2 contacts maybe on a pass. But I have a 50-foot tower with dual Yagis and a Yaesu rotator using an ICOM 9700 with the SAT box, this self-contained antenna tracker is what I use to track the satellites with my Yagi.
So now we've got a real expert here, and I appreciate that, Mike. If I knew you were waiting on me, I may have hurried up and got Bobby out of here quicker. But wow, this is very cool. So you are a true satellite person. So first of all, you said a lot of things there, and I'll check out your YouTube channel. But tell me first of all, are you familiar with the ICOM 5100? And would that be a decent radio to try to do FM satellites, or should I even? I mean, without spending the money to get the 9700, what do you think? What's a good radio to get started with?
To get started with would be a Retrievus RT3S that you can put the open GD77 software on, and it will track Doppler for you. Or the one the gentleman mentioned before also has it built in. And what the Doppler effect is the fact that the satellite's moving at 17,000 miles an hour. So as it's coming towards you, the frequency will be higher, and as it passes you, it will drop down lower. When I just did satellites with HTs, I would program in 5 channels, with the third one being the exact frequency the satellite's on, and the first 2 being a little higher, and each one being about 5 hertz higher. So you're checking out an area about 30 hertz total that you're going to be panning through. And if you're using a Yagi antenna, yes, you can point it at it. But I will tell you, there are a couple of 42-inch, they call them tactical antennas. You get 2 of them for like $25 on Amazon. I have used that antenna fully extended on a very low ISS pass and made a QSO with it or 2, because the signal's broadside to the antenna, so you have a better chance of getting a contact with that. And for $25, you get 2 of these antennas. They're like the tape measure antennas, and they're 42 inches long. So if you're really talented, you could make one and use it. But if you got $25, it's definitely worth the cost of admission for that. I do many different satellite contacts. I'm probably live 5 times a week. So if you hit the bell on my YouTube channel, you'll get notified whenever I go live. And if anybody's got any questions, I'm here. Go ahead, ask me.
Great. Well, hey, Mike, I went to your QRZ page and I clicked on the YouTube channel, but you know what? It didn't take me anywhere. So I think I may have to search for you, but I can probably find you out there. I think it'd be okay if you gave out your YouTube channel or how we can find you. I've got several people asking already.
You're right. I have to change that on QRZ because I changed the name of my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is at Ham Radio Fun -KO4PDI. But if you go to YouTube and you just type in my call sign, it'll come up. And you'll see my ham shack at the top and a little video playing and some of my recent videos below that. But I'm mostly on doing live streaming. And I'll be live today at about 6:15 Eastern this evening. I'll be live on my channel.
You'll probably pick up a few subscribers, I'm sure. We're very interested in this, at least me and a small group of people, it seems like here. Okay, so if you're listening out there and you just kind of caught the tail end of this conversation, we're talking with Mike, Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India. That's Kilo Oscar 4, Papa Delta India from Palm Coast, Florida. Well, Mike, it sounds like it's possible just to get out there with a real basic setup. Now, one of the guys in the club sold me an Arrow antenna, which I picked up from him yesterday. I got my radio, my battery, and I put it in a bag so I could hold everything and hopefully not drop something. And I think I'm going to try to at least make my first contact with that on the FM side of things. It sounds like that's where we want to start, is with FM. And then I read the AMSAT book about how to get on amateur satellites this morning. It took me about an hour or two and kind of read that book. And so I feel like I know more now than I did. But what are some other tips and tricks or basics for just regular people like us that don't have a big tower?
Well, the 5100 is an excellent radio. I highly suggest go look at DX Engineering's YouTube channel and look up any video with Sean Kutzko. Sean Kutzko worked for AMSAT for a while, and he's not part of AMSAT anymore, but he did a bunch of great videos with DX Engineering on satellites, using anything from the 8-meter antennas to actual Yagis like what I do. He does a lot of portable. Another person to watch for portable is Whiskey 5 ITR. That's Rob. He's down in Texas by you guys. He might even be listening right now. So a Whiskey 5 ITR. If you really want to know about like the handhelds that you could program the Doppler stuff in, Whiskey 8 Charlie Papa Tango. That's my buddy Captain Don up in Michigan. He's really good at using an arrow antenna. Literally, I've seen him in the middle of winter sitting in his car with the HT and holding the Arrow 2 antenna out the window and doing satellite contacts in the middle of the night. He's really good at it. And he's the one that taught me how to program my Retrievis RT3S for the Doppler stuff. So he's another guy to listen to. So you got, and they both do portable. They don't have a setup like me. They just do portable stuff, and they do great. Don does great, and so does Rob. And if you ever go to like Hamcation or Dayton Hamvention, Rob will be there doing satellite right out in the middle of the field or whatever, wherever they're at. So you can go talk to Rob. He's got a beautiful setup with a little bag and a recorder, and that's what Sean Kutzko did. I believe Sean Kutzko went on a mission to do every grid square in the United States via satellite. So go check him out. His call sign's KX9X. He's not doing it anymore, but he's definitely the guy. That's where I learned. There was nobody out there when I learned. And then I found CSN Technologies, who I was looking for a iGate I wanted to set up at my house, and they sold this thing called the S.A.T. And I was like, what is that? It's a satellite tracker, and it's called the self-contained antenna tracker. Works with ICOM radios, so you'll be able to use it with the 5100. Costs about $275, but let me tell you something. When you watch me do a live stream, you'll see all the data on the screen. That all comes from that SAT box. So keep that in mind. That's CSN Technologies. You can look them up on the internet. But anybody's got any questions, go to my webpage, ko4pdi.com, and the links are there. And you can also email me there, and I'll help anybody that wants to know. Like and subscribe to my website, my YouTube channel. I also have a group on Facebook called Ham Radio Fun with KO4PDI. And you can join that, and I announce on there anytime I'm going live. I put a note on there to let people know ahead of time. And a lot of resources.
You timed out. You were going good there, and you just timed out. Reset, come again.
Announcements from there, too. Every day I post stuff on there. So you're welcome to come on over. It doesn't cost you a penny. I'm not asking for money. I'm not monetized on YouTube. Any radios I give away, which I've been doing a little more lately, they weren't given to me. Everything I paid for. So I would like to be monetized, but it happens to be a very small niche group that's into satellites. Not enough. I'm not going to have 20,000 people following me like Josh does or anything. But I got 1,700 following me on YouTube, so it's nice. So, yeah, feel free to come by, check out my past videos, some funny videos I've done. My whole building of my tower is on there. You can check that out. There's lots of videos for you to watch. So you'll learn a lot. Trust me, and if you have any questions, just ask.
Very cool, Mike. I tried to catch up with most of what you were talking about, the various people you were telling us, and the satellite tracker, the different people. I think I caught almost everyone except for your Facebook group. Actually, well, hold on. I just found it. Ham Radio Fun with KO4PDI. I'll probably send this information out to some of our local groups here so they can grab it. So anyway, I do appreciate this. So I think so. Here's another question I have, and then I'll see if anyone else out there has a question. What about, do you do any digital FT8 or anything like that through satellites, and is that even something that is worth going after?
I have done, it's not FT8, it's FT4 because it's a quicker, you have 10 minutes maybe on a good satellite. So an FT4 contact is what we go for. RS-44 has FT4. There's a couple other satellites off the top of my head, I don't remember them, but I know RS-44, which is a Russian satellite. And there's a little quirk about that satellite too. You could do voice. That is a linear satellite, so you have 30,000 hertz of bandwidth where multiple people can be carrying on red shoes at the same time on linear satellite, not on a FM satellite. FM satellite, strictly your call sign and grid square, and that's it, and move on, because there's a lot of people trying to get in, especially on the ISS, especially on the weekends. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I'm actually thinking of doing an article for the AMSAT magazine about satellite etiquette, because more and more people are getting setups like what I have, and you could really blow everybody out of the water with it, and you don't want to do that. So you wait your turn, you give your call sign and grid square. My practice is to hear the call sign, jot it down, or write it in my log, and then I'll call that person. And when they answer me, bam, it's in, it stays. If they don't answer me in the past, I just delete it. I don't leave it in there. But there's nice ways of doing satellites where we don't have to be yelling at each other. I'll tell you this funny story. In St. Augustine, there is a knucklehead, and that's the clean version of what I call the guy. He actually intentionally caused interference because he doesn't like me. I was a member of that club. I'm not going to that club anymore because it's causing problems. He got on the ISS and started causing intentional interference. He'd send the emergency tone from his Baofeng into the ISS and block everybody else from making calls. So I said, you know what? I don't need to be in that club. I don't need to use that repeater because it just antagonizes him. And nobody wants to do anything about it, so I don't deal with it anymore. I just don't. But once he started blocking the ISS, I said, he doesn't realize it's a felony at this point, you know, and he does it anyway.
Well, that's an interesting story. We've got some of those folks in this area too, but not too much of it. But you're right. Somebody like that can spoil it for everyone. Hey, I want to open it up for questions, but since I'm driving this thing and I'm so curious, Mike, I have a question about. So I've got a 705 ICOM and a 7100 ICOM that can do single sideband, but it's not dual band. In a situation like that, I guess you would probably have to use either two radios or an SDR to be able to hear the downlink.
Yeah, Roger. That's what you would do. I have a 705 also, and I kind of thought about maybe using that for satellites, and I said, why would I do that? The 5100 does it. It's full duplex also. So the 5100 works. This SAT box will actually work with the 5100 also. So it works on all the ICOM radios that are full duplex, which comes in handy. I thought about making a portable setup, but I don't do it. My buddy Roger down in Lake County, Florida, his call sign's Kilo Victor 4 India. He has an article in this month's AMSAT journal talking about his portable. He does POTA with a Yaesu rotator and an Elkin, not an Elk. He's got an Arrow Alaskan antenna on that. And 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I forget. I helped him out at his field day down in Central Florida, and I got him all set up, and he does a great job with it now. And go read his article. You'll love his article in the AMSAT journal, which, by the way, if you go to my Facebook group, you can download that PDF file with that article in it. It's about 3 pages in there. He did a great job. Kilo Victor 4 India is his call sign. His name is Roger, and so I'm here. Anybody needs me, you got my email address on my website, everything. Come watch me do a live stream later on tonight.
Cool, Mike. We will do that. So I was thinking the 705 or the 7100 for the single sideband stuff, but you're right. Just for FM to get started, that's probably all I need is 5100. Hey, Mike, I'd like to see if anybody out there just has a real burning question. Can you hang around for a few more minutes?
When you came back, I heard somebody say comments, so maybe we'll get them in here now.
Someone wants to check in. Come down with your call sign, followed by your name, and then go right ahead with your question for Mike.
Earlier about doing a video about proper etiquette, if you and others could get that ball rolling, that would be great, because I tried to jump in satellites a couple of times, and it's just a mess of people just throwing out their call signs. There's very few actual contacts being made back and forth. It's just a free-for-all. So if you guys can kind of get the ball rolling as far as proper etiquette and how to properly communicate via satellite, that would be fantastic. And this is W3PIG.
Why do I know that call sign, W3PIG? I've heard that. You've been on my live stream, I believe, haven't you?
It's a possibility. I'm on here in HF quite a bit, not as much HF recently, but we may have had contact in the past, but I don't recall.
I believe the name was Angelo, and if that was Angelo, I'm glad I got you. Basically, the etiquette is just like ham radio etiquette. You don't step on people. You hear somebody calling somebody, don't jump in there and try to get them. Let that person make the contact with the person he's calling, and then after they're done, you jump in. A lot of people, well, first of all, I have to start at the beginning. The first time I heard somebody repeat my call sign from space, I was giddy. I got so excited I forgot to write down the call sign, and it was just on an HT. Another time I've spoken to, as a matter of fact, if you go to my QRZ page, there's a link to the second time I talked to an astronaut, which blew my mind. I've now talked to an astronaut 10 times. And Kjell Lindgren was the most prolific guy. I got him 5 times on his flight. But nowadays, there's nobody up there that really wants to use the radio a lot. It's actually a supplemental communications device for them. In case of emergencies, everything else crashes, they got ham radio, which is great. I've met Lou McFadden, who built the power supply that's on the ISS right now. And I've also met Frank Bauer, who is the head of ARISS. They're the ones that coordinate putting radios on these satellites. So I've met all these people, and I've had a wonderful time doing it. But I will remind you, when you first hear yourself, somebody coming back to you, you're going to get giddy about it. It's going to freak you out. So don't let it totally destroy your concentration. Make sure you write down the call sign so you get credit for it. But it's very exciting. It's, to me, as a kid that grew up and I knew all the Mercury astronauts' names, and as a kid, and I knew, I followed every program, Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, and Artemis now, and the Space Shuttle. And I mean, I've thoroughly, the first person to use a ham radio from space was Owen Garriott, and he used it, I forget what he was I think he was on the shuttle. He was on the shuttle and made the first amateur radio contact from space. I met his son, and his son went up there and spoke. Richard Garriott is his name, and all he wanted to do was get more contacts than his dad, and he got hundreds and hundreds of contacts. And he was writing on his arm, he was writing on the wall of the space station or the shuttle, and the space station he did it from. So yeah, it's a wonderful hobby, and that's the secret about ham radio. It's a hobby of hobbies, and you could follow any avenue you want. And believe it, I hear people sometimes overexcited and stepping on people. I don't get mad anymore because I understand the excitement and how much you love doing it. So I try to just slowly instruct people and show them, don't do that, do this, and it works out nice.
Hey, Mike, this is Kilo 5 Charlie Whiskey. You timed out the repeater, I think.
At like 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's like me and one other guy in the entire country. It's only the 2 of us on there, and we could carry on a regular ranchu, you know. But it's just a lot of fun, and I just want everybody to enjoy themselves with it. And that's why I became an AMSAT ambassador, so I can go out there and tell people about it. I even have the CubeSat Mini simulator, which is an actual CubeSat, 4 inches by 4 inches, that works just like the crossband repeaters on the satellites that are going around the Earth. Does a bunch of other stuff too. FT4 is something that you can do on certain satellites. got on the right radio for that. I think isn't the 5100, doesn't it have sideband on it? I thought that was a sideband radio also. I'm not sure.
Mike, no sideband on 5100. This is K5CCW Randall here in Denton. No single sideband. That's why I was asking you about the 905 or the 71, the 705 or the 7100. But anyway, well, let's see if we can get someone else in here. We had W3PIG from Pennsylvania checked in. Anybody else have a question for Mike? Traffic there, and then I think folks probably maybe they went to eat an afternoon snack or something. So all right, Mike, you're still there, I guess. You went a little long and timed out the repeater, but it brought you back. I think I've subscribed to your Facebook group and your YouTube channel. I think I found it there. But it sounds like there is a lot of information to go through now. Let me ask, so the W3PIG was talking about the etiquette on the satellites. Now, as someone who has done a lot of parks on the air and contesting and things like that, I'm used to hearing a lot of traffic. On the FM satellite, it sounds to me like there's just going to be some of that, right, Mike?
Roger, especially on the ISS. The ISS has a Kenwood 710 radio, and it puts out 25 watts, I believe. So it's a pretty hardy radio that you could talk on. And you could send 10, 15, 20 watts up there. When I'm low on the horizon, I got trees in the way, I boost the power up a little higher. What's nice is I'm probably the only person who streams live satellite contacts on the air with no editing and I don't block out. There were people out there saying, "Oh, you're using too much wattage," and when you watch them do their stream, they block out on the screen how much wattage they're using, which means they're probably using 100 watts, but which they can, but it's not advised because you'll blank out a lot of other people. But no, you can go between 30 and 50 watts, no problem on the ISS. So I definitely say use the wattage you need to make the contact. If you hear yourself coming back, that's great. If you got full duplex, you can do that. If you got any other questions, ko4pdi@1791.com is my email. That's my call sign with 1791.com. And send me an email, and I'll get back to you, I promise.
Very cool, Mike. Well, you sure made this discussion about satellites, you brought some excitement to it, which is a big deal. And I can see why you're an ambassador for MSAT. You sound like someone who is excited about this part of the hobby. Excitement gets other people excited, which I think is a really cool thing. So thanks for checking in today and giving us your information, all this information. I have another question. You mentioned something as we were talking, the full duplex. So, I've heard a lot about you need full duplex, but I'm not so sure that it's needed, like 100% needed. Tell us a little bit of your thoughts on duplex versus half duplex versus maybe just a regular handheld.
All right. Well, the simple answer is full duplex. You can hear your voice coming back when you're transmitting. 9700 makes that possible. Some other radios do that too. The reason you want that is you don't want to be stepping on people. You got to remember, as the satellite is rising by you, it's already over somebody else, and they may be talking. And if you're just screaming out your call saying, KO4PDI, 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 and you keep doing that, you're ruining their conversations. So the best thing is don't transmit until you hear yourself, until you hear the satellite. That's the simple answer. Don't transmit until you hear people talking on it. Then just be cordial. If say somebody calls me and I want to answer them and you jump right in and you call them, that's not right. You shouldn't do that. You should wait till I respond to them and then you go as soon as I'm done. like I said, the way I do it is I write down every call sign I hear, and then I go back and try to call them and make a contact with them. What you'll find over time, many, many people, I'm talking people up in Connecticut, New York City, New Jersey, Panama, I've gotten Venezuela, I've gotten Panama, the Cayman Islands. Just today I got the Cayman Islands on, I think it was AO 123. So yeah, these people, you might not hear them, or they might hear somebody further away from you than they are, and they're answering them. And if you jump in and just keep calling, you're gumming up the works. You're just creating static on the signal. So you don't want to be making contacts over other people. Here's what I tell people. Relax. Take a breath. It's going to go around the earth again. It's going to come by you again, and then maybe you'll get it then. You don't have to get every single call sign you hear on every single pass. That's why I like using full duplex. Now, it has its glitches. It has its problems. I've run into them. As a matter of fact, right now, my preamp on my 70-centimeter antenna is kind of acting up, and I might have to get up on the tower and fix that. But I'm going to the hospital for an operation on Wednesday, so I'm not doing that for a little while. But I will be back, and I will get healthier, and I'll be able to get up there and fix that thing then. So I just don't use it if that's the case, if it's not working. And I hope I didn't time out the repeater again.
Mike, yeah, I think it's a 2-minute. It may be a 3-minute. So I think you kept it within 3 minutes. We really appreciate that. I know that we're taking you away from your potential satellite run that are coming by right now, maybe. But we do appreciate that, Michael. Well, you've given us a lot of great information. There's several YouTube channels, and I'm going to try to go back through your information here and sort of give out some of what you've told me. I think the YouTube channel is probably the most important here, which we've documented it here in our group chat, so we've got that. And then there was a couple others that you mentioned. I've got them all here, so that's really cool. Well, I appreciate it, Mike. Anything else for today's net before the...
No, nothing else for now. I got an hour and a half to make dinner, take the dog for a walk because the rain finally stopped, and then get back here to do my live stream at about 6:15 Eastern. I'll be on the air.
Well, that's 5:15 our time, if I'm doing that correctly. So, all right. Well, good, Mike. Thanks for being on the net today. If anyone out there is listening and wants to check out Kilo Oscar 4 Papa Delta India, Mike is a satellite guru. Made 2,000 contacts on satellites in the last year, and so he is an ambassador for AMSAT as well. So if you go to his QRZ page, you can find his YouTube channel and a bunch of other stuff there. Anyway, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, and I'll say 73 for now.
Roger. Thank you very much for having me. I heard you, and when you said the subject was satellite, I said I'm sticking around because I think I might be able to help a few people out, and I don't mind doing it. So you have a great day. God bless, and I'll see you at 6:15.
Thanks for that, Mike, and a lot of energy there. And if you've been hearing this conversation for the last 15 or 20 minutes and not real sure what's going on, this is the Digital Lee speaking net out of Denton, Texas, originating from Denton County, Texas. Now we're linked up to several other RF repeaters as well as other AllStar nodes that might have gotten connected throughout the various parts of the country. We've had someone check in from Pennsylvania. That was Mike from Florida. So there's people out there that may be wondering what is this? What are we talking about? So every Sunday at 2 p.m. this net originates here on the 146.920 repeater in Denton, Texas. And we started branching out to a few other little local repeaters, and then the next thing you knew, there's AllStar nodes connected. And so that's how you might be hearing us. My call sign is K5CCW. That's Kilo 5 Charlie Whiskey. My name is Randall from Denton, Texas. All right. Well, that was a great discussion. I'm telling you, I was not expecting all of this today. I've learned more about satellite in just a week than I think I've learned about any other topic in radio. So, well, with that being said, who else would like to jump in and keep going down the rabbit hole with us on this topic or anything else? Come now with your call sign, followed by your name.
Kilo Juliet 5, Lima X-Ray Sierra, Brandon, Plano.
I don't even have to write that call sign down. Brandon, what's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm just sitting here on the patio, out in the gazebo, melting. But I will say that the portable AC unit I purchased for the tent for field day has a dual use, and it comes in quite handy here in the gazebo for these super hot Texas days playing radio. And I like it.
Yeah, I have been staying inside as much as possible. Well, Brandon, have you been listening to our conversation about satellites? I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the net when I was talking about how this all. I started kind of learning about satellites, which was just last Friday or Saturday. Actually, it was last Sunday night, I think, is when Coleman sent me a message and said, "Hey, go outside and listen to the International Space Station." And then the next thing I know, I've been kind of paying attention to this all week long and learning what I can. So, Brandon, what do you think about this? Is this part of the hobby you've ever considered?
I think it's fascinating, and for field day, I purchased. So Chameleon makes a tactical, I believe it's a 70-centimeter Yagi. 4 satellite contacts, and I did purchase that, and I'm pretty sure my radio can do it, but when I asked Grok about it, it's like, yeah, you can, but it's not really made for it, but you can. So I have the antenna, and best I can tell, Kenwood makes a really, really, really good handheld that you can do satellite communications on. And I'll lean towards that, but the one that it recommended was kind of pricey, so I haven't pulled the trigger on that because I don't really, I've got 2 handhelds. I've never used either one of them. So, but it's definitely something in my future, but I haven't really jumped into it as of yet. But my current projects are just really learning antennas, and I've been learning a lot. Let me reset here. So for, the past year, I've been accumulating all this antenna equipment and stuff like that. And then, I've only been able to do HF for a couple months now. And I bought that Chameleon's 25-foot Portamast. And I've finally been able to get it all set up in the backyard. And I've been moving it around from location to location. And playing with all the different antenna configurations that I've purchased over the last year and a half, and that's been quite fun. So far, the vertical has been the best on 20, and my tactical Delta loop has been the best on 40. And I've got a couple more configurations that I've got planned to set up as soon as the net's over, and then I'll start moving the mast around the backyard. But yeah, it's really fun, and I'm learning a lot about all this gear that I've been accumulating, I guess. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. KJ5 LXS.
Yeah, Brandon, I've kind of been in the same mode. What I found out is I had so much stuff, and I thought, okay, I either need to start selling this stuff or I need to start using it. But I hate to get rid of it because, it's just, there's so much. I've got amps, I've got radios, I've got coax, I've got antennas. I'm really just limited by the space in my yard. So I took all of my radio gear and I put it into ChatGPT, and I said, okay, let's get a plan for this. And so now the satellite thing was just a random. It just popped up, and now it's been added to that list. But the cool thing about the satellite stuff is it sort of went with my, it kind of goes maybe with Parks on the Air. Maybe you're getting out a little bit. But it also uses one of my radios that was doing nothing, which is the 5100. I don't know. Give me your radio again, Brandon, that you're thinking does full duplex or doesn't.
I don't really, I don't know. I don't know what full duplex is. So I don't know if it does it or not, but Grok and Copilot says that the radio can do satellite, but, I'm still too new, so I don't know.
It was just on here a few minutes ago. I asked him sort of what does that mean, duplex, or what is the point there? So duplex just means that you can hear while you're transmitting. So if you can, a way to test it would be to put your one band on a frequency and transmit, and then like have a handheld or something and transmit on another frequency and see if you can still hear it on the other band.
Makes sense. But I only have I do have another radio I could hook up out here, but just sitting in the gazebo, it's tough. I only have the limited sitting outside by the pool on what I have the ability to connect and antennas. So, anyways.
Hey, Brandon. Well, thanks for checking in today. It's been a pretty good net so far. Usually Sunday afternoons is kind of my my downtime. I'm kind of always tired this time of day, so I don't always hear what's going on this net, but I'm glad to be here today. All right. Well, thanks, Brandon. I think sounds to me like you're about ready to say 73, so I'll go ahead and ask for the next person. Who wants to come into the net today? Come now with your call sign, followed by your name.
Whiskey.
G5 TKI, Mark. Romeo Zulu, Jeff.
Okay, I heard Jeff at the end there, but the X-ray station. Come now again with your call sign, followed by your name. Jeff, stand by.
Whiskey 5 Kilo X-ray. This is Joe.
Joe, Whiskey 5 Kilo. Whiskey 5 Kilo X-ray. I guess you're starting to get into the satellites a little bit as well. I think I saw a message from you earlier.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole I've wanted to go down. I actually follow the KOPDI, the guy that was talking. I just had to find it on my YouTube, but I actually follow his YouTube channel. But it's a rabbit hole I've wanted to go down. I actually just bought a camera tripod off of Amazon that's got that can do the azimuth and the elevation. And I've got the Arrow 2 antenna that I'm just about to mount on the tripod. So I'm going to give that a shot this afternoon, actually. I did not know that. I mean, I've got a UV Pro as well, and I didn't know that it actually does all the Dopplers. So I'm kind of excited now about kind of going down this rabbit hole. So back to you.
Joe, one of the things that kept me out of the satellites was the idea of the Doppler. I was thinking, well, that sounds like too much work. You've got to try to, how are you going to be, I couldn't imagine how you would do that without a computer doing the Doppler. But what I found out the other night is that the Doppler shifts so slow that really you can sit there and turn the dial with your hand. I mean, you don't need a computer. You don't need anything to tell you where the Doppler is. You can literally just do it all by ear. At least that was my experience on the International Space Station. It could be that a smaller satellite that doesn't have as much power, you've got to be a little more, precise. But I was pretty surprised that the Doppler shift was not nearly as much as I thought it would be. In fact, it didn't shift very fast either. At some points, it was shifting so slow that, in fact, if it's a low altitude orbit or a low if it's lower in the sky and not straight up, from what I'm understanding, the Doppler shift is very slow. So don't let that hold you back, because I just turned the dial on my radio while I was holding it in my hand with no problem.
It's Whiskey 5KXX. No, I'm with you 100%, Randall. I saw a couple of videos, guys talking about satellite tracking, and one of the things somebody mentioned was that you can go in and program the memory channels. Starting with the freak for the satellite, and then as you turn the dial and it goes through your different memory channels, you can program in the shift to where as you're just turning the dial for your memory channels, it'll automatically do the Doppler shift for you. That I didn't go down. I did not know that the UFI Pro would do that for you. I knew that there was a satellite tracking function on the app because I've got the app, but I didn't know that it did all the Doppler for you. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, so that should be pretty cool. So I'm going to see if anything's coming overhead tonight and give this thing a shot. And looking forward to going down that rabbit hole. So great net so far, Randall. I think it was a great subject. I know you were getting into this kind of stuff. But a lot of good information on the net. W5KXX, back to you, Randall.
Oh, well, thanks for checking in, Joe. Really good input there. And yes, you can program. From what I've been reading, is you can program the different channels. That sounded like too much work for me. I don't know why I would need to program the channel when I can turn the dial. It's kind of like turning the frequency. But maybe it needs to be done. Mike did mention that he programs frequencies in as well, so that maybe that's just me being naive that I can turn it by hand. But good to talk to you, Joe. All right, moving on to Jeff. Jeff, I missed your call sign completely, so if you're still out there, come now with your call sign again.
Good afternoon, Randall. It is Kilo 3, Juliet, Romeo, Zulu. Kilo 3, Juliet, Romeo, Zulu.
Kilo 3, Juliet, Romeo, Zulu. Jeff, where are you from, by the way? And come in with your traffic today or your input for today's net.
Delaware, and I've been listening on and off, and satellites is something I've always wanted to do. There was actually a local ham when I first got on the air, first got licensed, that was doing it, and lost contact with him. He just kind of disappeared. But I just seem too busy to be able to get into satellites. I actually have two projects that are sitting on my desk right now. Two digital radio stuff things I want to do. One with the all-in-one cable, and the other one with a DigiPi. Two different projects, kind of similar. They're going to basically connect to an HT radio and do different things. And having a full-time job and trying to do other stuff just doesn't lend me time to do everything that I want to get into. Satellites is definitely something I want to get into. I need to find someone else that's local that has the time to show me how it's all about, to do it like face-to-face. I was with Robert, Digital Rancher, W5ITR, in Dayton. I saw him do it, but just to be able to take the time and being walked through everything definitely would probably help me. I got a good grasp of it, but just always need a little bit more. But I also need more time. That's all I have to say. Let me break for a second. It wasn't about amateur radio, but it's related to the fact that it's with my video editing software, Final Cut Pro. There was a feature in there that I did not know that was in there. It's called a tone oscillator. So, when they censor someone's voice on TV or radio, you hear the beep, and this little thing basically adds that to the sound, the audio, and the video. And I was always using a separate sound file that I downloaded and would reduce the volume of the video. And lo and behold, there's something already in software to do that. So learn something new. So there you go. That's all I have to say. On that, everyone have a good day. Be safe. Stay cool. keep your dogs at home and keep them safe and cool and keep the money in your wallet so you don't have to take them to the emergency vet for heat exhaustion. There's my advice for the week. K3 Jersey, 73.
All right, well, thanks for checking in from way over there in Delaware, Jeff. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's one of those cool little tricks you mentioned, and it took me, you know, like with this satellite thing or with anything else in radio, it's amazing how we can just have gaps in our knowledge, or it's a little tips or trick that we didn't know. And I've always wondered, you know, we have club presentations, we have show and tell, we have meetings, we get together and learn things. I've always thought, why don't we have a group, like, what are the best tips and tricks or best operating practices, things that just, you know, some guy might know but everybody else doesn't know. So I think it's little tips and tricks like that are some of my favorite things to learn. All right, cool. Well, anybody else out there, thanks, Jeff, for checking in. I'm going to see if there's anybody else who wants to check in. We're almost out of time here. To the digitally speaking net. This is K5CCW Randall in Denton. If you'd like to check in, come now with your call sign followed by your name.
D5TKI, Mark. India 5, Juliet Charlie Mike, Thomas and Grapevine.
Mark. I heard Mark there, and then I heard Thomas as well, but Thomas, stand by, and let's get Mark in there. Mark, come with your call sign again.
There's Kilo Golf 5, Tango Kilo India, Mark, in the colony.
Mark, well, good to have you on the net, and good to have somebody local here from the colony. Come now with your traffic. How do you like the net so far today?
Fascinating topic, something that I've wanted to do. I attempted several years ago with a homemade Yagi. I only heard satellite traffic. I never tried to make a contact. But so I wanted to ask KO4PDA, I think it was, he mentioned a Russian satellite, an RS something. Do you recall what that was?
I missed that part about there's a lot of satellites out there. If Mike is still around, he can jump in and answer, but I think there's hundreds of satellites, from what I understand.
Roger, something special about this one, I think made him mention it, but I didn't catch it. Anyway, so great topic, something I want to follow up with. KG5TKI.
Absolutely, Mark. There is a if you go to the amsat.org, so amsat.org, there is and I don't have it right in front of me, but I found it earlier today. There's a part of that site that will give you what satellites are up, which ones are working, what's recently heard, and you could probably go there and you would see a list of satellites that you might want to spend your time on. Otherwise, you might end up. In fact, it's called. Yeah, there's a lot of. I may have to just come back to you on that. But go to the AMSAT website and look around. It is it's like a little grid that tells you what satellites are available and what is actually workable, because some of them have maintenance problems and things like that. Does that make sense, Mark?
Roger. Yeah, I'm on that site now, and I'll have to go through. They have a tab called Satellite Resources. It might be under that one, so I'll check that out.
You're very close to us there in the colony. Are you and you may be, but are you a member of the Lake Area Amateur Radio Club?
I am not. I was at one time, but I never did renew.
Grown a lot, and we're a friendly bunch over there. You don't have to be a member, but you ought to come by and see us at the club meeting this Tuesday night. We're going to talk about field day, so not nearly as interesting as satellites, but you can come meet us and talk to us. You don't have to be a member for that, for sure. but we'd like to meet you, and maybe we can talk in person. Anyway, anything else for today, Mark?
That's all for me. Again, great topic, a lot of information, and I do thank you. KG5TKI.
Good to talk to you. Okay, there was Thomas, KI5J something from down in Grapevine. Thomas, come down with the rest of your call sign and go right ahead with your traffic.
This is Kilo India 5 Juliet Charlie Mike, like James Clerk Maxwell, the first guy to theorize radio waves. I love this topic because this is something I got crazily curious about not too long ago, and I have plenty I can share on this. Because what's up in my ham world has just been playing with DMR code plugs and hoping to someday get them right. First off, in this area, guys, we have 2 nets a week dedicated to satellite ham radio communications. The first one is on the Dallas main repeater, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m., and the other one is on the Arlington Club repeater Wednesday night at 9 p.m. It's a wonderful group. Actually, my very first Elmer, who went out of his way to teach me the ways of ham radio, I met on this net. Let me reset. I'll also mention the International Space Station, if no one has mentioned, has a repeater on it. The ham radio that the same one they use to communicate with school groups, and that sometimes they'll play with when they have spare time, if they're not using it, is set up as a repeater. And now they actually have 3 on board. One in the Columbia module, one in the Russian module, and one that was damaged, but one of the astronauts is an electrical engineer who fixed it so he could run it as a relay on ham radio from his quarters. That also being said, I believe it's the Tsingtao, the new Chinese space station. They requested that the Americans get them a Kenwood. It's up there, it just hasn't been hooked up yet, so someday, we may be able to communicate in 3 languages to people in the stars.
Cool, Thomas. Hey, look, Thomas, give us, we're bad about not checking into the Dallas net because it's so far away. Can you give us those repeater, do you happen to know the repeater frequencies off the top of your head?
Sadly do not, but I know where you can get them and the tones if you just Google DARC repeater, and the other one would be for the Arlington Amateur Radio Club. Both of those, it'll come up really quickly. And the times again were 8 p.m. on the Dallas site and 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater. I believe both machines you can get into digitally if you can, or through the, I should say you can get into it digitally if you cannot get in it through terrestrial radio.
And there's nets just related to satellite communications, correct? Or is that once a month, or is that every week?
Both of those nets are done every week. Tom, N5HYP, and Virginia, NV5F, are the ones that usually lead it. They are both very experienced, and they have both wonderfully helped me in person. What you really need to do satellite properly is a radio capable of full duplexing, or 2 walkie-talkies, or 2 HTs, I should say, and a directional antenna. Usually a Yagi will do it. Your average pass can be anywhere from 2 to 8 minutes, and it can sometimes be crowded, but I have done it several times, and it is a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, if you, we're going to go look for that information. If you don't mind, if you have some information about those nets that you could pass along to us, I would appreciate it. We could actually add it to our list here of things that we, kind of topics for this net in kind of announcements so that we don't forget it. But I'm looking on the Dallas website now, and I didn't see one. There's one called the Dallas. There's a TechNet. That's probably not it. He said it's on. Anyway, we can look that up later. But I thought maybe I might be able to check it out, but I didn't want exactly for light. Anyway, we can get that later. I do appreciate that information, Thomas. Anything else for today's net? Thomas, I don't hear. I'm not hearing from you, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on. But thanks for that information. If you want to email us some stuff about the net there, especially anything related to satellites, we would appreciate that. All right. Well, we've got about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes left before we've got to shut down for the day here. Anybody else want to be maybe the last or second to last contact or check in for today's net? Come now with your name, your call sign followed by your name.
Span.
Go Foxtrot. Sean in Denton.
There are 2 of you there, but Sean, you were the strongest. Come now with your traffic.
I just want to say thanks for running the net today, Randall. You're doing a fantastic job. And, just wanted to check in for the numbers, saying you're doing awesome. And, just saying that. I don't really have a whole lot of interest in satellites, but figured I'd check in for the numbers, let you know I'm here. KX7, WTF, back to net.
Thanks for checking in, Sean. I do appreciate the compliments there. Bentley has always been real nice about saying you did a good job, and I used to not really think anything about that, but that's a nice thing to say to somebody. You're doing a good job, whether they are or not. It's just nice to hear. All right, and I appreciate that, Sean. Thanks for checking in. There was another station that tried to check in with Sean. If you want to come now, you're a little bit weak, but come now with your call sign followed by your name.
5 GGH, Dominus Van Carter.
I got KGH, Kilo Golf Hotel, and I think you said your name was Carter. Just a little bit of a weak signal there. Come again with your call sign and go ahead with your traffic. We got just about 2 or 3 minutes here.
Can you hear me now better?
That's good. Go with your call sign again and then let us know your thoughts.
KI5CGH, Dominus Van.
Last thing you said there, KI5KGH. Did you have a comment for today's net?
I'm here.
Did you have a comment for today's net? It's a little scratchy, or we're double keying over each other or something. But go now with your traffic, and it looks like we got about 2 or 3 more minutes. So let's see if we can get it done by 4 o'clock.
This is KI5GGH, Dominus Carter. I just want to say hello and no traffic.
There, it took me just a second, little scratchy, but we got you. Thanks for checking in and getting in on the net. It's been a fun afternoon. I don't know if you've been here the whole time, Dominic, but it's been a lot of fun. So thanks for checking in. All right, I did want to say one thing here. One of our hosts that hosts this net, he just checked in, KX7WTF, and I'm not going to get this correct, but he has a YouTube channel that streams this net. So if there's anything that you want to hear about or go back and get more information, especially when Mike was talking earlier, you could probably go to his channel. I think it's WTF.Reydio, R-E-Y-D-I-O. It's spelled a little differently there. So that's WTF.Reydio, and that's Sean Kilo X-Ray 7 Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. He kind of live streamed this whole net today. So if you wanted to go back and see some of the information that Mike talked about earlier, you could skip back and probably find you could probably find that information. Anyway, I don't think we have time for any more check-ins, so I'm going to reset here, and then we're going to probably close the net.
Kilo Charlie 4 Echo Echo Lima.
There's our good buddy Bentley. Bentley, go ahead. Kilo Charlie 4 Echo Echo Lima. Go ahead.
Just to say you did a great job today. It was a great topic. Thanks for bringing it. Thanks for doing a great job. KC4EL clear.
I5GTH. My name is Dominus Carter.
Nice to everybody. He's just the nicest guy. All right, so today was a good day. We had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. We had some fantastic check-ins. And what I really learned that really opened my eyes was that there are a lot of people around here trying satellites. You don't hear it talked about very often, at least not in my circles. You don't hear it talked about. So I'm glad to know that there are folks participating in this part of the hobby. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close it down. This is Kilo 5 Charlie Whiskey, Randall here in Denton, Texas. For the digitally speaking net, I'm going to return this repeater to normal amateur use. You guys can come on and talk all you want. I got to go do something for my wife. Anyway, y'all have fun. We'll talk later. K5CCW, and I'll be clear.
We're still here across the airwaves. Every Sunday we remember your name. The bands may change, the years may pass, but the friendships